Good morning, members, or afternoon. It's Sunday, which is our seedling day that we dedicate the page generally to each week. For those of us that are embarking on the journey of growing from seed, whether you are hybridizing your own seed and making some special little babies, or whether or not you're purchasing seeds or buying given seeds or found seeds in your own gardens and collected them, and you want to do some growing and go through the rabbit hole of growing from seed. Now, it's a really easy technique to do to begin with, to start your seeds off in your different growing mediums. I use different growing mediums depending on what I'm growing, so whether or not they're Alcantaras or whether or not I'm growing bilberges, eekmeas, that type of stuff. I may use different growing mediums at different times, but generally speaking I use pretty much the same mix, which is Accoya fibre, which is cocoa peat, and then to that I add vermiculite and some perlite. Now the cocoa medium that I use is hydrogrow, and so it's used in hydroponics to grow different seedlings, and so it contains enough nutrients to get the little seedlings going, and it gives them several months. So what you're looking at here are Alcantaras. So originally a hybridization of these was last Christmas, so we're a year later. So I started with the hybridizing, and then the seeds started to ripen around August, and then we started to plant them. And so what I've ended up with is literally dozens and dozens of containers of many new hybrids of Alcantaras. They're very little at this stage. I can prick these out if I wanted to, but they don't need to. They've got enough nutrients in the mix they've got so that they can actually stay more or less dormant like this for a while. I'm not in any rush to do anything with them at this stage. I've got enough to do with others. So for example, I did prick out some from last year. So these ones here are extensa dark forms, and these were pricked out quite some time ago now. They were originally planted back in 2020, and they've grown on and been pricked out into their individual cells, and that I do when they're large enough to be done. That being said, this whole tray here you're looking at, all planted at the same time as them. These are Australiana, and these ones, again, can easily be tickled out and pricked out individually, and then I can pop them all on, and I will do so. They'll go into plug trays when I've got time. I've been busy doing the bilberges. We've also got in this section here some Neoregelia. These ones are seed from my own gardens, and so they're from Rangeview Coral Trout, and it's called a bird and bee hybrid, so the seed has selfed. And so I've got some little Neoregelia seedlings that I'm growing on here. I've also got some little eekmea. These ones are called Little Surprise. And I've also got a few other different varieties. This is Blush, and they're also pricked out. They're in their individual little cells, these ones are, and they're happy to grow there for a while. They've got a little bit of food, all good. Not much needing to be done. More little Alcantaras here as well. And then these are bilberges. Now the bilberges are ready for me to start to do something with them at this size. They're in rows, so notice these are in rows. So in this row, each one is a separate grex. So there is probably 100 little seedlings in each of those. So these are the last ones that were planted back in 2020. The ones from the year before that, 2019, is what you're looking at now hanging up. And there are several grexes from that year as well. So that's going back 2019 now. And from that grex, from these different grexes, there's lots of different colour variations, lots of different size variations, and lots of different very nice bilberges that are starting to grow. This particular grex is one that I like. It was number 3. It's black coral, those who know bilberger. So this is bilberger black coral grex that's been crossed with Kalan variety as well. When I register them, all those details will go through the registration process, and it'll all be listed up above here. Lots more. Again, these ones here are ruby crosses, so they've been self-pollinated back to itself. So pollen from one ruby plant transplanted across to a separate ruby plant is what I do. I don't tickle or self-tickle generally, and if I do, that seed doesn't get used. There's also lots more. This is another big tray as well. Now there's different size cell trays that I use as well. So these ones here are a nice big chunky 5 centimetre deep cell tray. They hold 10, so there are 10 in here, and they're happy to grow in that situation quite some time until I'm ready to put them into their individual pots. If I'm not using the 10 cells, which I do for space saving reasons, then I use the little 50ml pots. So initially, once I start to transplant the bilbergias, and people want to know when you go about doing that, well, for me it's when they reach the top of the lids. I don't have a set time. Depends on the time of year. It depends on how fast the particular plants are growing. It depends on the variety you're growing. Some are very small, some are very larger, so they grow much faster. So these ones here were all touching the tops. These are approximately 6 weeks of age. Some of them are as little as only sort of 4 weeks of age, which is what some of these ones at the front are 4 weeks of age. They've all been done in what's called community pots in this situation, where there are several of them, and they're going to continue to grow that way until they reach a decent size. Once they reach a decent size, then I'll plug them out individually, either in individual pots that size, or I'll move up to the next size pot. Now all of these ones are in a big seed tray. All of these ones are already in the ones I showed you before, so they're ready just to simply be removed. I'll pull one out to show you the root system, if it lets me. The purpose of this is for them to develop a really good root system. Okay, there we are. So we just need to remove all those lateral bottom leaves, and then we'll end up with this nice big plant ready to transplant. From this it will go up into its next size pot, which in my case is the 110s, and then that's where they stay. So this is how they'll end up. Nice little plant. That's after a couple of years. By year 3, they'll flower, mature, and then they'll be, which ones will be kept will depend on lots of different things. These are Alcantaras. These ones were planted in July of 2019. They've got a decent size to them now. They're growing really well. These are a Glasuriana hybrid. So they are a green variety. Very sun tolerant. These ones here, soon, not quite yet. Some of them probably could be done now. They're not quite ready because I can feel the pots. There's still lots of space in that pot, so they don't need to be potted on. They've got plenty of feed still in that pot. This size here will go into the next size pot up. Probably in winter I'll do them. I won't be doing them anytime soon while they're looking so happy and healthy. But I'm generally looking at the bases and making sure they're growing really well. Now the thing about some of the seedlings also, be aware that they can, when you do the transplanting, for whatever reason, whether it just be a life-saving type of response, they can pop up quite quickly, like this one has done. If you tickle the roots too much during the transplantation of them, they seem to send up some pups. So when you grow from seed, you can get, so these are pups from the original seedling in the centre, true to form, which is what you want. You want your pups to be growing true to parentage as well. So in this section I've already got 3 of this exact one. Now this one will be given a name, for example, and its pups will also carry that name as well, but it's the only one in the Grex that has that name. So that's why what a Grex is. A Grex is your seed, and I've been waiting for this. I'm going to do some seed harvesting as well. So back to the Grex. So the Grex is your seed that you've created when you've hybridised or selected seed from your plants, and all of the seedlings that grow from that Grex are each given an individual name when they're ready to register, or as you grow enough of them to be moving them out of your property for whatever reason. Okay, let's do some quick seed collecting. So for several months now I've been waiting on these seed. So this seed, this is the Neoregelia. It's usually a lovely lavender colour in the centre, and this little baby has got some ripe seed pods inside. So you can see these coloured sepals here, and as you pull them out, that's my seed bud there. If I'm to squeeze them out, there are the seeds inside there. So I need to go and get something to collect all of these, because these I've been waiting for. These ones are getting planted, so I need to do a little bit of seed harvesting. And same with this other one on the other side, the same thing. As you pull the seeds out, you can see the different coloured sepal on top, and these have got the ripe seeds in them. They won't all contain seeds because I didn't tickle every one of them, unfortunately, but I did tickle quite a few of these. So I'll be going back through and just getting seeds. And even if you end up with a handful of seeds, and you can see the seed is way up the top here, not big fat swollen pods down the bottom in these ones, it's all hiding up in here. So all of these ones will be taken back and cleaned, removing the outer mucogenic layer to reduce the chance of fungus growing on them, on the seedlings. So we try to remove as much of that outer casing, and then we'll go from there. All right, I have work to do. That's a very, very quick walk-see around today, while we still have a little bit of sunshine. All right, fellow members, happy gardening. Shoot us through some videos of your progress or some snapshots in the posts. Bye for now.